This is a good one. I'm really excited about sharing this one. And as I'm reading my notes about what came up this morning, I'm realizing that this is really for me, and I'm speaking it out so I can hear it. But the more that I read the content, it's really a message to me. And if anyone gains something from it, then that's great. But I can really see that just something that I needed to hear. So what I welcome people to do is just take a breath and just kind of pull back from the goings on about society and the pandemic and vaccination and not and all the stuff that's happening, and just pull back for a moment and just kind of take account of your surroundings a little bit, and more specifically take in account your feelings and your intuition. Your mind wants to go off into all these different directions and is fully supported in Facebook and Twitter and all these different things to support and validate, the thoughts that you have. So even with my thoughts, I feel really strongly about, the position that I hold. And even that, I want to really just pull back and say, okay, it's time to walk the talk. And, it's all about the feelings of things and what's the energy that's coming up and all that. So I want to really pay attention to that about this whole scenario. So I'd like to approach this as like a court case. So imagine that you're in court and all the evidence is being brought up, and your job as the witness on the stand is just to raise your right hand. I promise to tell the whole truth and all that. And as the attorney presents this evidence, your job is to say yes or no, or agree or disagree in whatever is presented. So I'm going to go down the list here and go to my notes and read down what I have as evidence. And I promise I will do my best to be unbiased and just share evidence that hopefully everybody can agree on. So the first one is people are yelling at each other and fighting against each other. We can all pretty much agree to that one. So remember, I just want to keep it really basic and really so that everybody can kind of see what's going on. Governments are using this opportunity to gain more control. So either on one end or the other, you can see how governments are trying to gain more control. And you could maybe come back to the attorney and say, yeah, but they need to gain control. That's not the purpose here. We're just saying this is what's happening. Yes, it's happening. Um, there has not been a wide open and unbiased roundtable discussion by world scholars, scientists, and doctors who would investigate the pandemic and its solutions from different angles without being censored and called a conspiracy theorist. And previously well-respected human beings have been put into this category. We can all pretty much, whether you're whatever side you're on or in the middle, you can probably agree that there's been some people that you go, wow, their account was taken down or they're censored or something. Wow, this guy is such a wise, knowledgeable person, and he can't even, speak his truth. It's wild, and we're being censored, and that's pretty true. So whether you agree that there is valid reasons for that, well, all we're doing is agreeing that this is happening. There has been little or no discussion about prevention and remedies that empower us. So again, back to yes or no, agree or disagree. There has been the threat of loss of job security and access to public resources and more. And that's another one that, we're just going to agree. Yep, that's happening. Whether you agree that there's valid reasons for it or not is not the issue right here. All we're doing is answering yes or no. And the other thing that's really come up for me is, and this may not be very apparent to everyone, but it's definitely, we feel it, that if you really look at it, there seems to be at least two real realities happening. What one side may say is the reality is, it's their reality is exactly what the other side can say the opposite of. That is their truth and their reality. One, for instance, is the hospitals are being overrun by non-vaccinated people and they're causing a lot of deaths. And then the other side would say it's completely opposite. And we all get passionate about that. What we're missing though is that it is really true. It's really true for one side and one reality. And we've always been taught that there's all these realities going on at the same time, and yet we've somehow bypassed that thought right now, that awareness that, wow, that they were right. There's all these realities going on. And I think what's happening is that we're blending into those realities, or we're deciding which one that we really want to come into. I'm not really sure. Um, so let's take ourselves out of the courtroom now, and I just want to share with you some more thoughts about this. While we have been fighting something, while we have been fighting, something has been happening in the background, which does not serve us in the long run. And we are misplacing ourselves and losing our sovereignty and our empowerment. There is an opportunity to resolve, heal, and integrate while all this is happening. It is true that there has never been a greater opportunity for a shift, and some would call it the Great Reset, the Great Reset. But this is not what some of us are agreeing to. So it's true that there's a great shift happening, but maybe not the one that's being presented to us. We determine that. We determine what shift we want to have. This is not something that, hey, we've got this great idea and we're going to give it to you. No, that's not how it works. We self-determine. We decide what kind of shift that we want to go into. So part of the shift includes the deep healing and integration of the traumas that we've carried that are now at the surface. So I invite you again to pull back from reaction and taking sides, no matter how strongly that you were right. Just put that back there on the shelf for a moment. Pull back and look around for signs of things that just don't feel right, and look within. It is time to practice your feeling in your intuition and pay attention to it. We are all playing out themes from this in every other life that we've had. The feelings and emotions that are being brought up during this time are signposts to your own healing and integration of past traumas. It is rarely about what is happening right now. Really pull back and feel. The mind wants to go on all these details of everything and see it's true, everything's being validated. But again, even if you're so solid in that, you've got all the truth, you've got all the right videos and all the right data and all the right stats. Pull back from that. The mind is even, all those stats want to take you away from your feeling. So here's some of the feelings that I was kind of feeling around the world and seeing what police officers in Victoria, Australia might be feeling, or police officers in Canada might be feeling, or someone that has got the vaccine, or someone that is really adamant not to. And I was just feeling into what that might feel like. And so there's several here. One is the fear of death. Another is anger and rage. Another is loss of control. Another is self-determination, or the lack thereof. And then that also leads into helplessness and also guilt. And I'm sure there's a lot more, but those are the ones that I was kind of feeling into. So I guess those are the ones that I feel. So I came up with some thoughts about each one of those, and I wanted to kind of give those to you. If you're feeling any of those feelings, the first one about death, I no longer fear death. In fact, the feeling that I have is more curiosity, anticipation, and excitement. I will die, and the timing will be perfect. The next one is nothing can affect me or come into my field unless I am somehow in agreement with the energy of it. That doesn't mean to say that, you're going to be forced to do something, and even though you're completely against it, the energy might be that you don't have any control, or there's this unjust way of the world or something. So there's something that you are believing and something in agreement to. The next one is about control. I have been in control in the same way that I am in control of the character in my dream. Nothing is in control. And the next one, why should I be angry at something or someone that causes me to self-determine and practice sovereignty? After the anger subsides, settle into self-determination and presence and clarity. Next one. Only my egoic mind feels helplessness and loss of control, fear and anger, and projects outwards. Next one. If I am feeling guilt, it is not about what's happening now. It is only something that I have unconsciously chosen to identify with years ago. So I'm going to switch over here, come back to the video. Hello again. All right. So all these things are, a lot of them are coming up for me. There's a feeling of anger and injustice. That's kind of, but if I look back at my life, if I can look back at my life and see those feelings years ago, and and COVID wasn't around back then it's something within me that is playing itself out. And I've really thought about this and felt into this for the last few weeks. Is we all have sensitivities to certain things, and all my life I've felt this sensitivity towards injustice. Like, those stories of back in the medieval days, and they had this thing called first night, where the king got to have sex with any woman that was just getting married, like that was his right. And those kind of things were just disturbing. Like, oh, that's so unfair. I think maybe I was a woman in that time or something, and that just really hits me. So it's this injustice, unfairness kind of thing. And that's just something that it's a sensitivity with me. That's the way that I like to say it. And if we were to take ourselves out of the details and the reactions that we're having with this whole scenario and look at our own sensitivities, our own energies about what really hits us, we're all playing that out. We're all like, then you can start to see why this person feels this way, why they feel so adamant to get the shot, or why they feel so adamant not to get the shot, or the ways why they feel so adamant that there's a big takeover that's about to happen or trying to happen, or why you feel like, nothing's about to happen. It's all a sensitivity that's all being played out, probably not created from this particular life, but it's all been part of many lives. And once I start to be sensitive to other people's sensitivities and realize that that's all being played out, this is all uh, an experience that we're having that's being played out. And like even the anger and the rage and all that seem like some of them lead to great action. Some of them lead to great self-determination. But to stay in that anger is where, we don't want to get caught. But there's things that are being activated and created here. And if we can pull back, so imagine this. Imagine that there is this agenda. Imagine that there's an agenda to put experimental drugs into people, and there's an agenda to control people through passports that allow them to do things or not do things. And then that leads into great control and all that. And then there's this great reset that puts all these super powerful people more in power. And we just, thank you, sir, can I have another? And we do all that. But imagine, like, before that happens, that we kind of say, yes, a reset. Yes, we've always needed a reset. You're right, we do need a reset, but not your reset, my reset. So I agree with the reset, but all I have to say is no. All I have to just be in my own sovereignty and decide through my own inner strength and intuition that there's something within me that you can't touch, that you can't control, that you can't manipulate. And that's my own feeling. That's my own thing about the work that I need to do. So here's this force, this entity that may be trying to gain control over us in a non-healthy way, but we get to always stand back and say, you know how I fix this? You know how I gain more sovereignty and empowerment is to work on my own stuff. Wow, that just feels to me like God. That just feels to me like divine grace. What else could there be but just this self-determination of, if this is all happening for me, what is in it for me? What's coming up for me? It can't, I've always seen that more and more that all the details are all just things being played out as in the force of energy and the force of emotions. And this is no different than any other case like this. One of the things that I've been seeing lately is we haven't really been addressing death. And this is really bringing up things for people that uh, unless we do this, we're going to die. Well, we've forgotten we're going to die. And there are a million other ways to die besides, getting a cold or a flu or a virus. So we kind of conveniently forgot about that one. And just, I don't know, for me, it allows me to just kind of look at death, accept and embrace death when it comes. And there's no control over it that I can have. It's going to happen at the perfect timing. And that just gives me a lot of peace. And now it causes me actually to live even more. So I guess that's my message. I thank you so much for listening. If you have any comments to share about this, of course, I would love to hear them, to read them. I apologize for this being a one-way thing, but sorry. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you so much for listening, and I would really love to hear your opinion and your perspective on it. All right. Thank you. I love you. Bless you, and have a wonderful day.